Hello, magical people. My name is Lou. Happy equinox. And Winston's mom, yeah, I was reading your comments. Sorry I'm tardy, actually. I had a last minute technical difficulty. My, what's it called? Uh, the little cube, the charger cube for my phone just totally kicked it. So, it was a little bit of a last minute delay, but I love that quote. And I feel like that was probably talking about the vernal equinox because it talks about the solstice being the promise that the days won't just keep getting shorter. And I fucking feel that, man. I often feel that way at the winter solstice. And it's, yeah, that's a really, really beautiful quote. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. And again, sorry, I have the chat on a big monitor over here so that it's a little bit easier to read without me having to get, like, give you all a weird, just fucking view of my face in order to see it. Um, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I don't know why, like, as long as I can remember, I've just really always had a preference for calling it the vernal and the autumnal. I don't know why. It's maybe it's just because it sounds a little more formal. Yeah, I know you guys usually have several tabs open. I don't know how you manage that. I wish that that was a. Oh, a moth is in the house. I wish that that was a superpower I had where I could multitask like that, but the reality is that I'm barely ever even one place, and if I try and divert my attention too much, yeah, it just I get super fractured. And even it's funny, I've noticed even in like watching Host Eric's live streams or other live streams, but Host Eric's is the only one that I really ever participate in the chat with for the most part. Um, and even there, I find it a struggle to be both paying attention to what's coming into my ears and what's coming into my eyes. Um, so, yeah, which actually one of the I've been trying to be a little bit better about jotting down random things to talk about, so that I'm not 100% reliant on the chat to give me ideas for things to yammer about. Um, but one of the things that I was thinking about was, oh, I just totally lost my train of thought. Which one? I've got so many bullet points here, and that just made my brain go crazy. Um, oh, yeah, I remember the TE Polar thing. So, speaking of Host Eric, who hopefully he and Rachel are super enjoying their Johnny concert, um, but I was on YouTube earlier, and he had posted or made a post where there was a recommendation to this other person's channel. I think it was called like the Magnificent INFJ or it was something like that. Anyways, it was this guy, and it was a fairly short video, but just talking about what did he call it? I think he called it domain shifting. How whatever a person's polar is, one way of thinking about the polar is that it just takes up a lot of attentional resources when you do have to do it. And I thought that that was really interesting because I definitely have noticed that when I'm trying to figure out like the ordination of how to do something, and I've noticed this especially. I'm sorry, I'm ignoring the chat. I will look at it all in a second. Winston's mom. I just want to make sure I get this half-formed thought out before I lose it completely. But yeah, like what I've noticed it, especially with like doing the leather projects, because I could do things the easy way, and like download patterns and just make patterns, make things from pre-existing patterns. But for some reason, I just want to make my own shit and figure out how to do it, which is really fucking hard, and it's such a learning curve for me every single time, because it's one of those kinds of tasks where there is definitely an ordination to shit. And if you do things in the wrong order, it means you end up having to undo things. And when I am trying to think something through like that, like how to TE something, and like there's no way. Well, one of the things that he said is that we'll domain shift. So we'll take our polar and try and like use it through our tool function. So, and that's true. I do outsource, and this is one of my favorite things about the internet is I can just ask the internet how to do fucking anything, and it will tell me. Um, but even once I've gotten to that point where I've, gotten the outside aid that I need, there still comes a moment where it needs to be like integrated in, like unless I'm getting somebody to actually do it for me. But obviously with the internet, I'm going to get the information so that then I can do the thing myself. And like even having gotten the information from an external source, there is literally a period of time where I will literally like close my eyes and block my ears to uh, keep out as much other stuff so that I have more attention to pay on how to actually do the TE of it. So yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. So let's see what you are saying here. I saw how people could or couldn't multitask in the command post. Most people should not multitask, if I'm being honest, especially if they're driving a vehicle. And that is true. And I mean, this isn't like a study that I could cite because I just, unfortunately, don't have the kind of memory where I seem to be able to retain studies for purposes of citation. But I do remember reading or hearing or coming across information at some point that was talking about that and basically just saying that like the whole idea that humans even multitask is actually a myth. There are some people who are better at like frame switching really quickly, and people who are less skilled in that. And I am definitely a person who is less skilled in that. And it's funny because I feel like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I probably would have said that I was great at multitasking. But I was also, I mean, I don't know, having an awareness of the subjective self is a difficult thing to do. But anyways, yeah, it just said that talked about how kind of like multitasking isn't actually a thing in the way that we actually kind of think about it. Having TE as my companion function smoothed the way for me over the years. I am just an efficiency monster, but I studied it as a child. Wanted to grok efficiency and time management. Yeah, that is kind of a superpower. Like I definitely struggle with that quite a bit, and can imagine how having that in your tool belt of skills that you can readily access would make one particularly competent in navigating this world. Yeah, I was just thinking about this before I started the stream. I just had this thought, and I was like, oh, if only I didn't have to sleep or eat, I could spend so much more time just doing the things that I want to do. Which, I mean, that's just such a. I mean, I did kind of. I don't think I did it out loud, but I laughed in my head at myself a little bit because it's just such an asinine thought to even have. Like, if only I didn't have to do any of the things that required to actually be a human, then somehow that would make me human better. I don't know. But, anyways. Oh, I know I don't have to read all of them out loud, but sometimes it helps me to go to. It keeps me from going too fast. Well, here's the thing, is that I do have checklists. I'm kind of, like, I know that they are a tool, and I don't really, like, my system of like notebooks and checklists has been a constantly evolving thing, um, and I still haven't quite gotten it down in a way. I mean, I think the fact is, like, what I was about to say is I haven't gotten it down to the point where it makes me efficient. But you know what? That's just never going to be me. I'm just never going to be an efficiency monster. So I need to just get over that and recognize that to use the tools that I have, like checklists, like notebooks, even if I don't use them perfectly, they do definitely help me. Um, I will sometimes, like, there is nothing as sweet as a day where I don't look at a list. I turn all of the notifications on my phone off and make all the noises go away and just fucking tinker around doing whatever feels good in the moment. Like, I don't do that very often. I'm more likely to do it with the checklists than with the phone. I do turn the sound off on my phone almost all of the time, but I don't super often put it on like do not disturb. I used to do that more with the old career because I think my just state of stress was just so elevated for so fucking long that I, without forcing a reduction in external stuff, um, I just couldn't de-escalate that stress level effectively enough in the allotted time between working that I had. But with this new gig, especially once I got past my 6 months and now I only have to go in for like all staff collaboration days, and those at this point are only like once or sometimes twice a month. I'm still getting it under wraps, but especially since I've gotten to that point where there's like sometimes whole weeks, like a whole Monday through Friday, where I don't have to physically go into the office, and I have noticed in that time, because it's only been like a month or so, that I feel just overall, I mean, if not great, definitely less, like, definitely less bad, and definitely less, like, stressed to the max all the time, which is lovely, I'll take it. Um, yeah. Yeah, I'm just reading your comment about the four slot SE, and yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, you know me. I probably, I mean, maybe at some point this will change, but I'm definitely, at least right now, still kind of in the place where I could be convinced to be that I'm not an INFJ. Um, but yeah, I think I mean, I don't think I'm compared to the general population, like, super good at SE. Like, I need a lot of time to not do things in order to get a lot of things done, which sounds like a paradox, and I guess it kind of is. But and I also have periods of getting a lot of stuff done, sometimes followed by a crash. So there's that. But so not compared to like the world, I'm probably not the greatest at getting things done. But I think compared to the way I've seen other intuitives talk about their subjective experiences of getting stuff done and doing things, I think I actually am fairly strong at it. And I don't know. Uh, like, I am pretty independent. I've been an adult for a really long time and had periods of time where there was no significant other, and also periods of time where my significant others and myself's strengths weren't necessarily the same. Um, So, like filling the gaps, I guess, over time. Um, yeah, I have like, I'm not super good at anything, and I'm not saying that I'm sort of good at everything, but there's a fair amount of things that I could manage if I really had to, provided I could consult with the internet on the how to. But yeah, anyways, yeah, my memory, yeah, it's really hard, and like it's so funny because like in my time, like a lot of content that I have been consuming of late is a lot of discussions. Like it's not scripted stuff most of the time. A lot of times it's discussions, and a lot of it ends up being kind of debate-y, or at least more sort of along the lines of like academic discussion, which I find really interesting. I mean, not across the board. There's a couple of like very pointed uh, uh, topics that I am, generally mostly looking into. And like oh God, like being able to accurately cite studies, like, I mean, I know that, particularly with regards to one subject, I know that the data is there and is supportive of my, I guess, assertions, but my ability to draw on that, like, yeah, I don't know. I need to have like 87 tabs open all the time, um, which is just, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. Yeah, I have over the years had a bazillion different kinds of planners and notebooks. Like I don't know that I've ever not been aware of my natural deficits and been strongly encouraged to manage them better. So it's been a long journey. I like the idea, and like some people really fucking thrive on that, and yeah, yeah. Doesn't matter. Like, what's weird is it's so counterintuitive. Is that like I mean, over the years, and I'm kind of old. I'm 48, so over the years, I have bought a lot of planners, and some of them have probably been like 15, $20. There's probably been a couple that were even more spendy than that over the years. So if I'm almost 50 now, and I've been buying them probably since at least I was a teenager, so that's like 30 years. So I mean, it's at this point, it's like several $100 probably worth of fancy planners and not so fancy planners, because I'll try it all. And I haven't. Oh, hello, Boba Fett. Thank you so much for being here. Happy equinox to you. Um, and I like the thing that's worked best for me so far is any kind of notebook. Like my preference seems to be like whatever size this is, and no lines on the pages. Like, come to find out, I actually don't really need the fancy shit at all. It would be handy, I guess. Like, there are, well, I mean, I could, I guess, just also get a calendar to, like, keep track of things like that. Um, what a novel idea. I should possibly get, like, a calendar for the wall. I feel like I've done that before. Um, yeah, I don't know. Keeping track, keeping organized. It's one of those things where I'm chasing after the wagon, and every now and again, hop onto the back of the wagon and like hold on by my fucking fingernails until something happens, and then I fall back off the wagon and I'm just, eating fucking dust again. So there you go. What you gonna do? But at least I keep trying. So there's that. Um, yeah, so then I closed my notebook though, which had all of the notes of the things. Um, yeah, I don't know. Um, um, I have one of those whiteboards with a whole bunch of different colored markers. I think, actually, I'm pretty sure I know exactly where it is. And currently, right now, so I have a bunch of tarot cards that are blank, and on them, and they're just tarot card size, so they're just little. And the back of them looks like the Rider Waite. It's just just like a checker. I can't remember what that kind of pattern is called, but anyways, and so that's where I'll do my little like finger pastel paintings on every now and again. And sometimes it's fun to tape like 5 or 6 of them to a thing, and make like 5 or 6 little arts kind of like all at once. But the process for doing those, because it's pastels, is such a pain in the ass, because you then have to like spray them like 3 or 4 times with this fixative, and then you also have to do this like final coat on top of them, because oil pastels never dry, so they always smudge, which is not very helpful. Like, I mean, if it's just gonna smudge, it's tough to do anything with. And I like to make altar cards out of them. So I'm pretty sure that my little whiteboard is currently playing its second role as the thing that I tape all of the altar cards to when I go on a tear about those. But anyways, yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest and totally admit my ignorance. Is esoteric astrology different than like the regular astrology that we usually talk about, either tropical or Vedic? Is it different from both of those? Okay. No, I am absolutely not a 1 instead of a 9. But I do think that I am not a 5. I'm pretty dialed in on the 9 and 4. But I think that the 5 is not a 5. I could maybe still be talked into 6, but I think it's actually a 7. And that was actually what I'd initially thought my tri-type was. This is so ridiculous and embarrassing and like, oh, shame. But like, then when we were first talking about it, then I found out that Rachel's tri-type was also a 947, and I was like, she's so much more gentle and so much more kind than I am, and that seems right. And although she and I are similar in some ways, I think I have some harder edges than her. And so I was like, and maybe also a little bit of the 4 showing up in the back of my mind and being like, well, if somebody is already that type in your tiny little group here, then you can't also be that same type. And so then I for those kind of, both of those voices in my mind kind of turned me elsewhere. And because the 7 as a core, like when I first started looking into Enneagram and was only looking at like having the 1 type, and the 7 was the one that actually kind of least resonated with me on its own, and maybe I'll have to revisit that. But that's also kind of based on the original like Riso Hudson, and I know that a lot of the thinking about it has really kind of evolved since then. So anyways, I'm kind of back to 946 or 947. I can't remember what either one of them are called under Catherine Fauvre's system, but in the limited reading that I've done so far, the big reason why I'm leaning towards 7 instead of 6 is that, well, there are plenty of things about the 6 that do resonate, One thing that doesn't is that it seems as though a lot of people specifically remark on the uh, lack of independence of the way the six shows up in the 9-4-6 tri-type specifically. Um, and then also, like, I know y'all just kind of got to know me in the last few years at this very atypical time of my life where there's just been a lot of uh, change and a lot of shifting and a lot of difficulty. But like in my youth and like in my marriage and stuff like that, like I'd say that there were two things that I was probably most often accused of when my behavior or my interactions were found wanting in some way. And one was that I was just too optimistic to the point of not being realistic. And it did get me in trouble more than once, for sure. Um, like to the point of not wanting to, like, it actually kind of came up in therapy recently, and I thought of this like interesting way of thinking about it is, like, you know, everybody's heard the expression about finding the silver lining in difficult experiences and stuff like that. And like I've always kind of been a little bit of a master of it, and it's one of those things that even now when like people are sharing difficult experiences they have with me, or not that they have with me, but that they're sharing the with me the difficult experiences that they're having. It is like sometimes, you know, it will come up that like, well, at least there's a blah blah blah, and it's like it's this like such a need, a fixation really, to be in that place of like, well, at least this came as a result of this awful thing, that there's actually a bypassing of being in the painful place. So it's like jumping over the muddy fucking puddle into the silver rain cloud. But like you kind of can't really do that. Um, I mean, I guess you can. I mean, I certainly have, but like it's problematic. Um, oh, thank you. You know, I mean, I am not very good at making time for my friends. Well, there's lots of things I'm not very good at, but you know, I manage well enough that this place is a pleasant place to be. Oh, thank you. That's a kind thing to say. Um, am I am on live chat. Okay. Have any of you, so with the fridge magnets, have you ever gotten the ones that have like the words on them, so then you can sort of create different phrases? I've never owned them, but I've had housemates or roommates that did, and they were kind of fun. Mm. Well, that is interesting. I'm just getting to your comment, Winston's mom, about esoteric astrology. Interesting. Uh, yeah, I see the glass is half full. I mean, sometimes there have been times when half full, that glass is all the way full. And the fact that it's not full, I'm just going to ignore it and tell myself that it's full in some way, shape, or form. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? Hi, Karma's Pimp. Thank you so much for being here. Happy equinox to you. Um, what elements are they stacked? So I am, it's actually, honestly, the way I got it tattooed on me. Not, so it's Air, water, earth, fire. And I think it not only shows up that way in terms of like uh, air, sun, water, moon, earth, rising, but I think in terms of how frequently the elements show up in my overall chart, it's air, earth, water, fire. Air and earth are pretty close. Yeah, I think I don't have a whole lot of fire. I don't have a whole lot of earth either. Um, I don't actually remember. I could pull it up because I do have a computer right in front of me. Your birthday is coming up. That is exciting. Happy almost birthday. So wait, that makes you're a Libra then? That is very exciting. How uh I mean, of course, obviously you don't have to answer this, but like how old are you? And if you don't want to give an exact age in case somebody finds out your birth, I don't know. I don't know if you whatever, answer or not, but I am curious. But hmm. I will look into that, Winston's mom. Yeah. Being a candle in the dark. Yep. I like it. I like it. Turning 38. Ooh, so you're almost at your 40th. That's exciting. Um, oh, you have a dimple? I have one too, or at least I used to when I was a kid, but it was like a weird one. I can't even remember what side it was on. Oh, here it is. Oh, it also is hidden under my glasses, but it's like when I make big smile or I guess growl at people. um, it does show up, but it's just on one side. 38. Ooh, so you're going into an 11 year. That's exciting. I don't know, stuff like that. Like, yeah, I tend to be interested in sort of looking at numbers that way. But yeah, because I mean, you add the 3 and the 8 and you get 11. So, I mean, I'm sure plenty of people have or have not talked about this and think it's valid or not. But I think it kind of makes sense that when we are a certain age, um, that the numbers have resonance. And so it seems to me that we all have an 11 year or 22 year, whatever, um, shit like that. Uh, they're called what? Mariah? They call them. Oh. I have Pisces. Pisces. I have Pisces in my moon, and 2 of my 3 partners were Pisces suns. About fish teeth. I don't know if I got fish teeth or not, but they're definitely not like great. Like there's yeah. Um, I was missing like I don't know what fish teeth is either. I was just uh, reading what Winston's mom is saying, but this is not bad. I am actually drinking an ale because a few weeks ago, a friend of mine was having a fundraiser karaoke party that was so much fucking fun. And I'm a little short on funds right now, so she kind of comped me my ticket, and I just love the shit out of her. And this was the second time they've done this, and it was so much fun. So I ended up just kind of like volunteering my time and like helping out, you know, for whatever they needed, like tickets and shit like that. Um, and I ended up coming home with like they had just some leftover supplies, so I ended up with some coffees, some like pre-made like oat milk, coffees and some CBD drinks and a pile of this beer, which is a German style Kolsch ale, which I don't know what any of that means, but it's a very pretty can and it tastes pretty not bad. Um, oh, I can't watch a video right now though. I'll have to look at that later. There's that would be interesting. An astrologer guesses strangers' zodiac signs. That would be kind of fun. I would be terrible at that. I think I would be terrible at most things like that, though. God damn it! Now I want to look, but fucking, I don't know if I can do that without fucking shit up. Or like, whatever. I'll just keep the chat open and I'll look at that later. But did y'all do anything for equinox? Or enjoy it at all in any way? Okay, I'll copy and paste the link and save it for later. Not paste and go, just paste. Now I lost my chat. Oh, I don't really love that Carnival Barker style. Yeah. That's not my jam. Like, the town that I grew up in had a little town fair. I mean, still does have a little town fair every year, and it's one of those like traveling gigs. So like all of the rides that they like put up and then a few days later take down, which I don't know, whatever. But yeah, and they had all of the games, and so there would be at least a few of the booths would have the carnival markers, and yeah, I don't know. I always found it a little like pushy. Ooh. I remember reading about Saturnalia. I don't think I've ever like observed it officially. Oh, well, that sounds like a fucking terrific day. Didn't do anything except eat pizza, study, eat ice cream, nap, living room rearranged a bit, napped, and then you went live and studied. I plan to eat pizza again soonish. That sounds amazing. Like, and also, what's up with this like one hair that wants to be like completely just, yeah, what is that? But that sounds pretty amazing. Yeah, I don't know so much about the street typing either. I mean, although there's some people who really claim that like there's like types that look alike. Although I don't know, it's all so complicated. Who fucking knows? I don't think anybody actually really knows. I don't remember that they ever had like freak shows or anything like that. Like it was more. I mean, there was a lot of 4-H, like the like the exhibit type stuff that you could walk through was all like 4-H stuff. It was pretty much just like rides and the games, and I mean, of course, the food, and like the fire department made this corn on the cob that they like literally fucking dipped the corn on the cob in the butter. It was real good. But yeah. Well, Karma's Pimp, if you are interested in observing things like that, we do have a full moon coming up in just like a week. And it's the last supermoon of the year and the first moon of autumn. It's called the harvest moon. So there you go. Full moons. I don't know. I like full moons to observe. I don't know. I like the moon. Like if I go outside at night, and there is a moon visible, I always notice it. And I think, well, maybe not always, but often. And I see swag. Yeah, like, yeah, I mean, maybe there's something to physicality, but like, I, I don't know, because like, there's also, you know, people who look like their siblings or their parents and, have similar types, but aren't, like, similar body types, but aren't the same type. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like hats are a clue. uh, oh, okay. So either any DOMs or FI. Those are the two hat wearers. Is that what chat is telling me generally? Oh, that's lovely. You know what I used to love? So where I grew up wasn't that far from the ocean, and so I spent a lot of time at the ocean and at the beach for the 36 or so years that I was in that region, and I used to love the beach at night because it, like, the way the moon reflected on the water, it just looked like this silvery path that you could just walk on, and yeah, it was just really pretty. Do they keep their depth in their hat? Yeah, I don't know. Did any of y'all watch that video that Eric had linked in his post to the guy talking about the TE and the domain shifting? I thought that was a good way of putting it, that helped. Oh, wait, who are we talking about? I missed something. Oh, wait, are you talking about, are you guys talking about CS? Oh. I don't think that I've seen him. It's kind of been interesting. Like, I had a fuck ton of different channels that I subbed to, and of course, the algorithm under my other username, my Ludafe, and I finally have, over the past several months, just pretty much started using only my Fey Moon or Moon Fey. What is it fucking called? I should know this, but I don't. Moon Fey. Um, and so I subscribed to a lot less things over here. Like, I had to resub to Gen Zennial, because I think I only subbed to like 2 channels under this username, 2 or 3, just a few, because I never really used it. Like, I used it only to post, but then I used my other username to watch everything. Why? I don't know. It's not like I comment a whole lot anywhere anyways, and I'm not usually like, I don't need to hide my fucking tracks. I'm not doing anything wrong. But yeah, I don't know, the desire to compartmentalize is strong in me, apparently. Um, and yeah, it's been interesting because the algorithm is completely different. And I think I've already kind of fucked it up. I need to rebalance it out because now I'm getting a little bit too much, just all very serious stuff. And not a ton of either spiritual stuff or comedy, which honestly, just having that shit show up in my feed reminds me that it's not just all like bad politics and just everything is fucked. No, it actually wasn't. It wasn't one of Eric's videos on TE. It was a video that Eric shared in a post that somebody else made about TE, and yeah. So yeah. So anyways, so uh, I don't even have a whole lot of like typology people that I follow under this one, so my algorithm is very different. And like, I think Frank James just popped up as a suggestion for the first time like a few days ago, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that guy. Oh, great! Thank you for mentioning her. Because even though I feel like I talked about her fairly recently, I don't know, like, no, I think I am subbed to her, but I don't remember getting a notification, so maybe I need to go back and check my little fucking bell, um, because I know I watched something of hers recently, but I don't remember seeing anything of hers come out recently, so, thank you. I will have to go and make sure. Oh. Uh, Does Megan Lavoda, she's the only ENFJ that I know off the top of my head that I can recall. Is she not making videos anymore? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Right. Karma's Pimp. You got it. 100%. Uh, wait, what ESFP woman? Boba Fett. Oh, Amy Y. Yeah, she's awesome. I really like her. Like, I, yeah. Yeah, I really like her. I like talking to her. She's just lovely. Um, One of my good friends is an ESFP, and uh, I fucking love the shit out of her. She's amazing. She is still doing some content, Megan Lavoda. Cool. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, we should just, I guess this is just an opportunity for us to encourage Ruben to make some ENFJ content. Because obviously there's a shortage. Um, Denzel Washington is an ENFJ? Like the actor? Like Denzel? I mean, could you be somebody with the channel Denzel Washington without? Oh. Is Ruben ENFP? I do know that he got typed that way by Spacey, um, but I don't know what his, like, now that it's been a little while out, I don't know what his thoughts are on the matter. I have a hard time not seeing, like, ENFJ just seems to make so much sense. Oh, okay, I gotcha. I'm gullible. Especially in chat where I can't, like, hear the tone of your voice. Yeah. Chat's hard, man. Yeah, it is fucking confusing. Like, um, Eric typed Ruben. Eric typed him as ENFJ, and then Spacey typed him as ENFP, as I understand it. But yeah, I'm so sad we don't have your typing Boba Fett. I think maybe you should get typed again, just so we can have it typing. Um, And you know, obviously, both Winston's mom and Karma's pimp, I would fucking love to see typing sessions of both of you. Um, or hear typing sessions of both of you. I don't feel like I need to pressure anybody to go on video for that, but it would be lovely to uh, just hear the way you interacted with that typing. Um, yeah, that would be cool. I wish that I could like get everybody that I know pretty much to get typed by Eric. Cause like I still feel, yeah, I don't know. I still feel like I don't, like I feel like maybe I understand it at like fractional of a percent better. I feel like it's one of those things where I learned a little, then I learned a lot, and now it's just kind of like, I mean, I'm not putting a huge amount of effort into it. I have kind of a lot of things that I try and pay attention to, but I listen to, you know, people talk about it, and like, I mean, let's face it, I hang out with you guys like more often than I hang out with anybody else, and so we're obviously always talking about it, you know, fair bit. But I still, I don't know, like looking out in the world around me, I feel like I'm never, even when I feel like I know, I don't know, yeah, there's a lot of second guessing. You would have released it too? I can't believe you didn't. Yeah. So that was that like back in the early days when he just wasn't, was he just not recording them? How long ago is this, Boa? Oh, let me just move that screen because now I can see myself, and I don't need to see myself on delay. About a year ago. Mm. It had to be more than that. I feel like it might have been more than that. I mean, not that I, of all people, am anyone to challenge anybody's CCs. But, oh, okay. Alright. Very subtle. Um, yeah. Um, I, uh, I would like to. Um, there's a couple of barriers. One is going to be, uh, well, one is definitely going to be finances. Like, flying there is definitely not going to happen. I fucking hate flying. And I have done it before, plenty of times, but it has been a few years, and I also don't think that it would be, for how, you know, relatively speaking, close I am. I don't think a flight would be the most expedient way to do it. Um, so it kind of depends on finances. It depends a little on what the weather is like, because that is pretty early in the year, but I would have to drive through at least 2 mountain passes, um, maybe more, and sometimes those do get sketchy. And like, I mean, I could put on the studded tires, and I do have chains. Um, I do kind of struggle not being at home. Like, I'm fine leaving the house for a few hours, but especially since, especially since 2020, I've been pretty reluctant to not sleep in my own bed. Um, and uh, so, yeah, those are my barriers right now, are one financial, one kind of practical, and likely to be like last minute. Like, I'd have to plan on it, and then if at the last minute the weather was bad, I'd have to call it off. Um, and also just working around my own head a little bit. like I know I have plenty of friends that I could have come and stay for a couple of days and, squirrel sit and cat sit, obviously. Um, but yeah, and I'm pretty sure, like, I mean, I haven't taken very much time off from work, and so I'm positive that I probably have the time that I could take. What I'll probably do is within the next couple of weeks, because I feel like I haven't, okay, so I'm not very good at email. Like, I do scan it periodically for, like, in case anything that, like, I really fucking absolutely need to fucking do right this fucking second or bad shit's gonna happen. But if it's something I can kick the can down the street on, I probably will. So I did see that the invitation came in. I feel like I saw, maybe it was in a live stream that I was rewatching, or maybe even one that I was at for a while. But I feel like I saw somebody mention that the RSVP is in like October, which is, like soon, but I don't know when in October. Um, so what I will probably do is I will probably take the time off from work and just make sure that I get that approved in advance, and then, uh, just be honest with Eric and Rachel and be like, I do want to try and go. I'm only one person, so I think that if at the last minute, I fuck up their list by one in terms of catering, I don't think it's a super huge big deal. And, they're awesome, so they'll understand that, like, my yes always has a little bit of tentativeness to it. But, and then I'll just kind of like hope and keep working towards other things kind of coming together so that, you know. Oh god, that sounds exhausting. But, oh, hello! Are you guys at Johnny? How is it? Is it fun? Um, yeah, so we were just talking about your Christmas party. Are you going to go, Winston's mom? Um, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, fun money, exactly. Oh, it would be awesome to get to meet. I mean, any of you. I think that would just be amazing. Oh, I'm so curious about what message that Karma retracted. Um, oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that's very, very kind of you. That's very generous. I really appreciate it, and that would be awesome because like that just occurred to me. I was like, oh well, I didn't even think of that, but like, yeah, when I was trying to figure out if I could make it to your wedding over the summer, I'd kind of just been thinking that I'd camp, but it's a different story in December than it is in July. Um, oh, starts in 20 minutes. Oh my gosh, so soon. That's so exciting. Was there an opener? I mean, it's already quarter of 10. Or did they have two openers? Um, that is very exciting. Gosh, I feel like, what was the last live show? Like, I go out pretty frequently, but like, that last, like, bought a ticket to a performer. For music. It's been a fucking minute. Might have been Snow the Product. I feel like I used to do it a lot more pre-COVID. I just haven't gotten in that. Because that's also one of those things where, like, you have to pay attention in advance, and which means, like, either paying attention to the emails that I get that tell me what shows are coming up, or going and looking at different venues. But it's also hard because, like, now, I mean, poor me, like, so many of the things that I love doing that went offline during COVID have come back. So, like, I think I've got dancing opportunities, that, yeah, like I think I pretty much every Saturday. There might be like every like third or fourth Saturday. There's not like a specific thing that I want to go and shake it at. But yeah. Oh, you're in the car now watching the openers. Yeah. Oh, are you taking your observation? Oh yeah, St. Johnny. So, alright, so that's north. You're definitely south of me. So like, hello, St. Johnny. Happy equinox. Um, I do really like. I haven't listened to a ton of his music, but that the one song, the one that y'all have been singing lately, that one, oh, it's hooky as shit. It's really, yeah, it's really good. I think you need to be made a what would that be called? A commissioner of the peace of St. Johnny. Y'all are amazing. Um, oh my gosh, I've been having so much fun lately. I have dipped back into, so I finished bag model B, and I haven't actually used it yet because I then like a day later finished bag model C, and have, I mean, I don't leave the house all that much, so I have been mostly using that one because it is very, it's what's it called? It's like a fanny pack kind of thing, and but yeah, then I have kind of been dipping back into making the leather masks, and yeah, that's really fun. I think that's probably what I'm gonna do after the stream here, because I made this one. I was trying to make like a. Well, actually, can I show you? Can I give you guys some show and tell? I'm just gonna. I guess I don't really need to ask your permission, since you can just ignore me. But I'm gonna show you anyways. So a couple of them are a little creepy looking because I haven't dyed them yet, and so they're just kind of this weird white person flesh color. But like this one here, it's not very good light, but I tried carving it when it was still wet to mold it, and it probably would have worked better if I had molded it, let it dry completely, then just wetted it a little bit and done the carving, because I feel like a lot of the carving, well, especially in this light, but it kind of didn't really come through. But I think when I dye it, I'm hoping that it's going to be, oh, thank you. I think it's going to be cool. So, but then I also have some of this black leather. So I made one out of the black leather, and you can probably see the carving a little bit better on this one. And this was the second one that I made. And the first one I made, I decided to paint a little bit. So I haven't added the straps to any of them yet, but, and then, you know, these two guys, which I think I might have made at least one of these a little while ago and just never gotten around to dyeing them. But then I was like, I want to make a dragon. Oh, thank you. The painted one or the unpainted one? I mean, they both have eyelashes. I hadn't done that before, turning the inside of the eye hole outward. His and hers, yeah, I mean, I guess they could be, or hers and hers, or his and his. I mean, we don't need to be heteronormative here now, do we, folks? But yeah, so then I decided I wanted to make a dragon one, and it's interesting, the black leather, probably because it's pre-dyed and so it's treated with other stuff that, I mean, it's still vegetable tan, but it's as opposed to the undyed, which, you know, gets a lot thicker, although I have, or not thicker, but stiffer. I've been doing some research into different ways to harden it. I think I'm going to try baking some leather this weekend. But I wanted to make a dragon, and so I did a bunch of research online and tried to make one. And like, this is attempt one, and it's not great. It's not the worst, especially like I made the nose way too long and pointy, but like as a first attempt, um, I gotta say, not the worst. I mean, these are a little bit too long and it's not floppy, and it's funny because I can't wear any of this because I can't wear it with my glasses, but do I keep making it? Yes. But so that was my prototype, and then I decided to make a second one, but I'm gonna do this one out of the regular veg tan so that it will shrink a little bit more and retain a lot of its a lot more of its stiffness. So and I tweaked it a little bit, made the, you know, what will be the horns different. So instead of going out, they kind of go up a little bit. So hopefully that will kind of help with the form. But yeah, I have just been super enjoying the creative process. Oh, and I didn't show you my bags. So Model B is pretty much like Model A, except a little bit bigger. And I'm gonna make another round of both A, B, and C because these are just the prototypes. And then I'm going to make another round of like actual, basically so I can put them on Etsy. And they will be probably custom made. Like I don't think I'll make a big inventory of them because they just take a long time to make. But yeah, so this is, I finished bag B, although, well, finished. By finished, I mean 99% done. I do need to cut this strap, but otherwise, it's all of the pieces are done, and, you know, the fucking, yeah. And then Model C, which is, this is the bag that I've been using lately, is a little fanny pack, basically. And with a slide strap, so you can either wear it, you know, kind of crosswise, or flick it around to the back, and or wear it around your waist. And yeah, I've been kind of loving this one so much that I haven't actually used the other one because although I wanted to make a bag that was bigger than Model A, I don't actually really need that much bag most of the time because I don't leave the house all that often. So, but yeah, so I've been having a lot of creative fun lately. Oh my gosh, and I've missed so much. Oh, I missed it, but well, have fun at the venue. I'm sure you're already gone, but have such a great time. I mean, maybe Winston's mom. I don't know about serious money, but it actually, so I had two really cool things happen today. I had my, I got my first Etsy purchase, which was, full disclosure, from somebody that I know personally. So it's awesome and amazing and I love it, and I'm not going to have anything to say about it. I'm just grateful to have my first sale on Etsy like that. It took so long to finally put stuff up there. My pictures aren't great, my descriptions aren't great, my shop's not that cute. I know all of that, but I have issues. So I'm doing the best that I can. And I haven't actually put any of the masks on there because the only completely finished ones that I have that, because I also was a process of like learning how to do dyeing, and not all of them need to be dyed, but some of them do. And if you are going to dye, then you also need to make it at least sort of weatherproof, especially if it's something that somebody's going to be having like on their face. You know, people get sweaty, so like I didn't want somebody to have the, you know, go to take off their gorgeous blue mask and get fucking blue dye all over their hands, and blue dye apparently does bleed. So like it's been a whole learning process. So like I've got probably like 6 or 7 masks kicking around the house that look kind of cool, that just are really not super usable. But what I was going to say is that in addition to getting my first Etsy sale today, I also got an email from, there's a shop in South Portland that About a year ago, they took a bunch of my stuff on consignment, like some of the wands that I was making, some of the, I don't know if you're going to be able to see them, but I'll try and show you. In the window, all of those prisms hanging. Oh, actually, that looks really pretty. Um, but all of those are either, you know, just sun catchers, or you can use them as pendulums. They all have a ring so that if you want to put it in your finger and use it as a pendulum, you could. And there was also some wind chimes. That's right, some wind chimes of mine that they took. And the first check that I got from them was, actually it was a couple $100. It wasn't like, whatever. And then, I've gotten smaller checks from them like once a quarter for the last 2 or 3 quarters. But I just got an email from them today asking if I wanted to set up a meeting so that they could get some more of my stuff in stock. So I'm kind of glad that I've been working on all of these masks and hoping that I can get some of them finished, because I think also, we're kind of going into the season where masquerades or having masks would be fun to have. So that would be terrific, because yeah, that would just be fucking cool. So I'm going to reach out to them probably towards the end of the weekend, and hopefully I'll have at least some of these completely done with maybe not very good pictures of them, but just so I can send them out. But yeah, so it's just, it's been a not so bad week in a lot of ways, so I'm grateful for that, which feels weird, like heading into winter. Like, I love autumn, though. Spring is probably my first favorite season, but autumn is, I think, my second. Yeah. But thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Yeah, the other 2 bags are kind of meant to be a little bit more for that, snag proof. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Yeah, you're not wrong. I'm trying to enjoy the ride. I mean, whatever. Sometimes are harder than others, but yeah, I hope. I pulled out my dyes earlier. I don't have all of the colors, and I doubt. Although I might. I don't know. It's one of those things that it's really hard, because like leather as a raw material is. I mean, especially like the kind of leather that I prefer to work with. It's not super expensive, but it's also not really cheap. And it's also one of those things where you kind of tend to buy it. Like, you can either buy it in a really small quantity, but then the price is kind of exorbitant, or if you go to a place where you can get like a shoulder or double shoulder or whatever, and like a big piece, then it's a lot more economical, but it's a lot more of an upfront cost. And it's tough because, like, especially with things like dyeing, like, like so like, for example, there was this one other mask that I made, this guy, and he's not good. Like, I don't know, it just didn't come out, I don't know what the fuck, I just don't like it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just re-soak it in water and try it again, and we'll see if that works. But like, there are some things, like when you dye and you're messing around with dyes and how to finish the dyeing process, and seal things, and all of that, it's just a lot. And it's not one of those things where, like, oh my god, Winter's mom, like, it's literally, there's no place where you can go, or where I can go, and like, I can't outsource the TE, because there's like, as many different people do this work, there's as many different ideas about ways to do it, which products to use, which methodology. Like, like, I can't outsource the TE. I literally have to fucking TE and SE it myself, which sucks because that's really fucking time consuming and resource consuming and not really in my skill set. I am trying to, like you said, enjoy the ride. And it is a fun process. I think it's one of those things where if I had unlimited resources, I probably would stress a lot less about it. Anyways, why don't I like that one? I don't know. I just feel like he's a little creepy. The eyes, like, even though it's the same, like, basic eye pattern, because, like, once I figured that out, I just like the ratio that seemed to work pretty well most of the time. I just kind of copied it. But, like, they're uneven, and, like, I don't know. I think maybe it's kind of one of those things when you're doing wet molding with leather, you have to, like, get it completely wet, and at first it holds almost no shape at all, but you still got to start the process, and then you got to, like, leave it for like 15-20 minutes and let it dry a little bit, and then go back and, like, refine. And I feel like with that one, like, at some point I probably started it too late at night and and half-assed it a little bit, and it just it I don't know, it's just not as good. Like, I don't know, like, there's this guy, like the curve of the cheek and, like, the way the eyes are shaped, and then there's this one, like, and it's even, you know, pretty much the same pattern, but it just didn't work right. So I think that I just didn't fuck with it enough, or something, and it could just be reworked. Oh dear. Okay. Oh. I like the idea of a sewing co-op, and I really like the idea that something like that exists. Um, that that would be a good thing to do, and maybe I will look into that. It seems like a little bit daunting to go hang out at one, like, but it would be nice to. I did do a little bit, like, I did actually pull out when I was making this one, because it's pretty thin leather. I did pull out my old Singer sewing machine, and it didn't work very well. But and I ended up ripping it all out. But I think that was mostly my fault. I think it's just one of those things where I was just using the wrong tools. I think if I were, maybe it's possible that if I had the right kind of thread, which is basically like a either poly, or no, what is it? Something I'd never heard of before that now I have. I think it's called bonded nylon or bonded polyester. One is better than the other one, but one is cheaper than the other one, and I can't remember which is which. But you want to use that, and which is different than what you use when you're hand sewing. What you're using when you're hand sewing is all waxed leather, which you can't, or not waxed leather, waxed thread, and you can't use waxed thread in the sewing machine because it fucks up the machine because it's wax. So, yeah. Oh wait, is the balance off or the scale wrong? What reads wrong? Which one? Do you want me to hold up again? The one that, I'm sorry, I'm not very good at, where did I put it? You want me to hold up my one that I'm not fond of? Is that guy. Yeah, I mean, it is made of leather. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll, you know, maybe if like that, like I said, I kind of want to try baking it. Because I know that, like, when people are making, like, leather armor, that it, you know, they bake it. And, like, you can just do it in your oven. It's just super low temperature, and you're basically just drying it out. But I'm gonna experiment a little bit with that, and maybe I'll see. Maybe I'll take one that I like least and see how it fares being out in the elements. I'm not sure that it would do super well, especially in a place that's really wet, because it is leather. So it will, I mean, I don't know, unless he shellacked the shit out of it, it would, rot. Yeah. Yeah, his face droops a little bit, and he's just, I don't know, he's just lacking, I don't know, I just don't like the way the top came out. It just, yeah. His eyebrows are a little thin, thicker brow ridge. Yeah, pretty much dehydrate it, yeah. Yeah. Because, like, when I do wet molding, usually I just let it air dry, and like even air drying, like, this is, I mean, it's not hard, like you wouldn't hurt yourself on it, but it's definitely it's pretty firm, and yeah, the demonstration that the guy did, I for the baking one was he actually had like a whole like suit of armor made out of leather, and it was one of the scale pieces that goes, I don't know, it goes fucking somewhere, and so he cut it and he shaped it and then he dyed it and then he finished it. Wait, I don't remember where the baking process came in. I think he shaped it, then he baked it, then he dyed it and finished it. And I mean, he whacked it with a mallet, and that thing was, yeah. Yeah, basically soak the mask and then dehydrate it, yep. I don't know what would happen, but I think that if you soaked a mask in fruit juice, but I think that it would, I mean, it's porous, so I think that would be gross. I think bad things would happen. But yeah, because basically, I mean, it's leather, it's skin. So basically, when you soak it in water, it absorbs all of that water and it becomes malleable. And then as it dries, it kind of shrinks back down a little bit. And if you speed up the drying process, then it will, make that happen faster. I don't know. I guess it's fucking chemistry of some sort, but I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a neat process. It's yeah. I don't know. It's tactilely interesting. I don't know. Yep, needs foot oil, lanolin. Yep. I have needs foot oil. I have lanolin. I have almond oil. I don't have mink oil. It's expensive. And I think it actually comes from, yeah, I don't have mink oil. But yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's interesting because it's like it's like a balance between the conditioning and the moisture. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. Leather is neat. It's just neat. I've read that you can also use coconut oil, and I mean, I have used coconut oil. I've read that you can also use olive oil, which I have not used, and beeswax. You can use beeswax too, which I have done before, and that's not so much a conditioner so much as a way to seal it, which is a little bit different. Yeah, it's funny, like, boiling leather, it's really kind of interesting because, like, even though boiled leather is a thing, like, um, almost everything that I've read says do not boil your leather. That it's just, yeah. And it's interesting because it's one of those things that, like, I mean, obviously, like, they literally used to make leather armor. Like, uh, for people to use practically, because it was just more affordable, um, than metal, and also much more lightweight. So the process has been around for a really long time and pretty well documented, I guess. And yeah, so there's, like, you can, and I think even boiling it, I think it's like there's a, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, everything that I looked into said that that is actually not the, especially for home use, the, uh, oh, thank you, I will copy and paste that for later too. Um, Not the easiest way to do it, or the best way to do it, or the most reliable way to do it. And once, just for shits and giggles, when I was first, like, making the leather masks, I got curious, and so I always thought, what is boiled leather? But leather and boiling water. I got a piece of leather, I can boil water. Yeah, no, that fucked up the leather right quick. Like, it was kind of interesting. I think it was when it was like scrap left over from making one of these masks, so, kind of thin leather, and I just wanted to see what would happen. So I, just, in a little container, just had a little piece of scrap leather, um, and poured in boiling water, and it immediately, like, shrunk up and became not just hard, but actually really brittle. So it isn't, like, it wouldn't have been usable, because instead of being, like, yeah, brittle, I guess is the best word for it. So it certainly wouldn't have been usable for anything like armor or anything like that, or anything even that you wanted to have, a little bit of give to it. But anywho, oh my god, pardon me. I think I just got tired. Look at that. It happened. It took about 2/3, 3/4 of beer. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Yeah, I think, I wish yeah, whatever. Thank you. That's a very kind thing to say. I don't need to diminish it or whatever. I can just rest in the discomfort of being complimented. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to do more with them. Like, I admit they're not bad. They're not bad. There's a lot of really fucking amazing shit out there, that I am just nowhere near in terms of conceptualizing, or following through, or having the skill or the artistry. But they're not bad. Yeah, I mean, pretty impressive for me. That's something. And it's fun. I like it. I like to make them. I like to make things. Hopefully, I will get the opportunity to make things for people that they will enjoy and use and get some goodness out of in some way. Which I guess is really what we kind of, like, want for the channel too. Like, it's, I hope, that people take away something useful, and not useful in a, like, TE kind of way, but something helpful or validating, or maybe they just see, gosh, look at how this person's fucking up, and I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it my own special way. So even that I'd be grateful for. But I don't know. We'll see. Guess what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is Blow Pony night. So I am excited to go dancing. I'm going out dancing to, there's also, there's this monthly thing. I don't go to it every month, but when my friends go, I will sometimes join them. And it's like an early party, so it starts at like, I think it starts at 6, although I don't know that I've ever gotten there quite that early. And it ends at 10. So I'm meeting up some friends there. So I'm doing a double session of dancing. And the friends that I'm meeting up at the first thing are friends that I haven't seen in probably like a month and a half, because they got married in Ireland and had this super big, long, like epically amazing vacation. I don't know what I'm wearing. I mean, probably overalls and a fucking t-shirt. I don't usually, I mean, if there is a theme, and other people that I'm going with as a larger group are partaking in that theme, sometimes I will join along, which is kind of new. I actually never ever really used to like that, so that's an evolution of Lou right there. But I don't think there's any particular theme tomorrow night, so I'll probably just wear what I wear most of the time, which is overalls with a t-shirt underneath and a sweatshirt over it. I think it's actually going to be cold this weekend, or not cold, but comparatively speaking, I think it's going to be only in the 60s and rainy all weekend. So yeah. It'll be nice to not have to water the yard. I mean, not that I've had to as much lately, but I still do definitely have to. But I had another daffodil pop out lately, like just a couple of days ago. Not daffodil. What's it called? Gladiolus. Just fucking popped right out of nowhere. Fucking September. Weird. Oh, that would be cool. Oh, that's a great idea. And I don't think that would be that hard. I mean, it's just a circle and 2 semicircles. I can do that and put eyes in the middle of it. My Little Pony is pretty big. Oh, I mean, I don't see why not. I will try. There is... I will try. I mean, I definitely see other people there documenting. The only reason I worry, honestly, is that, I mean, I know that this is really, really fucking slim, like really slim chances, but, it is a big old gay party, and not, even in Portland, not everybody is out all the way, and I would just absolutely fucking hate to be somebody who somehow accidentally outed somebody else. But I definitely see people, like, especially when they have performers, I see people there recording those, and I've certainly never seen any kind of like nobody ever, like, they've never even asked not to record things, so I certainly wouldn't be breaking any rules. Yeah, I mean, that's not, it's not even Glow Pony, it's Blow Pony, and it is all over social media. Like, I mean, like, he's got an Instagram page, he's got a Facebook page, like, he advertises the event. I'm not necessarily super worried about that. Anybody who already wanted to find it, found it, and they have, as things have gotten, even in Portland, as things have gotten more scary in the last like year and a half or so, they have definitely upped their security. They wand you. They wand every single person who goes in, which is kind of funny with sometimes because like there are people, um, like there are people who show up there not wearing very much clothes. Like I don't know where they would fucking put any sort of anything dangerous, but no, they do. They wand everybody going in. There's security on there that's like not part of the organizer. Like they're a hired security team at the venue, and you know uh, yeah, they're on top of that shit. So so I don't so much worry about that. Uh, it would just be like there's a guy there that I see every month. And so of course because I've been seeing him every month for like years and how we've chatted a few times and he's very kind. And you know like we've had some great conversations and you know I think it was a few months ago he came up to me and he was like, oh my god, I just and he's probably, I'd say he's a few years older than me, but maybe about my age. Definitely like late 40s to mid 50s, I'd say probably. And he came up to me and he was like, I just damn near had a heart attack. And I was like, why? What happened? And he's like, I thought I saw my niece here. And it's not that he's not out to her, but it's different being out to somebody and also having them see you dressed in a very non-conforming, not typical to what you'd see somebody wear walking down the street kind of way. And so, you know, there's just that to consider. Um, oh yeah, yeah. Like especially at that party because it does tend to get be a pretty raucous. But yeah, I think pretty much every. I mean, definitely every like queer party that I've been to, they've definitely upped security. Maybe it's been general. No, I don't think they've changed at that one that I recall. But yeah, no, definitely at the queer events. You know, so that's true. That's true. But it's different. Like if you're, say you're out at a regular bar on a date, and you happen to see a niece or a nephew, it's yeah. It's, even though that's still like hypothetically a sexualized situation, it's just it's different. Like there, I don't know. There's blow pony is hard to describe. I don't know that I've ever been in a room and seen as many ass cheeks as at a night of blow pony. Um, like it's, I'm probably almost always one of the more, not all, I mean, not exclusively. There's plenty of like more modestly dressed people there, but I'm usually sporting more clothes than a lot of people. Not gonna lie. Oh, Ruben! Happy equinox to you, Ruben R. And just, you know, earlier we were talking about how there seems to be a lack of ENFJ creators. And I'm not sure exactly how you're currently identifying, but assuming you are still going with the ENFJ label, I think we unanimously, and by we I mean me, but I'm pretty sure chat all at least energetically agreed with me, that this would be a great void for you to step so nicely into. So, um, yeah, hoping to see more content from you. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I've been on nude beaches a lot too. Well, I don't know about a lot. You do still identify as ENFJ, okay. Um, I don't know. I mean, I've only been on a couple of nude beaches, but each one several times. Both of them, you know, here. I think, have I ever been on anyone else? I don't know if I've ever been on another one elsewhere. And I mean, I don't know that I've ever gone completely naked because I don't like sand in my bits, and you got to sit down somewhere, and that just seems awful. But I do always go topless, and I fucking love it. I don't even care if anybody's looking. It is also a pretty queer environment. Both of the places that I go to tend to be mostly queer people, um, and so maybe that shifts it a little bit for me too, because it definitely doesn't feel. Uh, for how many naked people there are, it doesn't feel over sexualized at all. You worry about your skinny legs. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I might be out of things to say for the moment. Look at my little fucking list. See if there's anything over here I can hammer about. Uh. Oh. Mm. I gotta talk about all that shit some other time. It is an unexpected two types to be confused about. I will agree with you, assuming that I'm following the conversation accurately, and that we're talking about Ruben and the ENFJ, ENFP. I mean, it sounds so similar. It's just one little letter, right? But it's one letter that changes everything. Um, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true, Winston's mom, that they are both NFs and diplomatic idealists. But it is also true what Boba Fett said there about how there's no shared functions. And so it seems like that's one of those things that, like, when you zoom out, you're like, oh yeah, enough. But then I feel like, and I'm not saying this is true, because obviously I've already stated my own deficiencies with being able to understand myself, let alone anybody else. But it feels like that's one of those things where when you zoom in more, you should be able to clearly, see the differences between the temperaments and the functions. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I do see a lot of FE, uh, but it is also true that, I mean, if somebody is an ENFP, then they're going to have FE demonstrative. So, yeah. Yeah, and I feel like, okay, not that a singular data point is any reason to make a conclusion, except if you're me or anybody like me, where all you need is one data point before you make an assumption. Um, let's just look at the one video that I'm aware of, anyways. And if there have been more, I apologize that I've missed them. But so far as I'm aware, the like one video that Ruben has made, the one thing that brought him out into the world and encouraged him to put something out there was for the purpose of teaching. So, I mean, I'm not saying that one data point should be a thing, but if one data point is a thing, then, there's that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, right? Fucking routines are hard. Sort of. I mean, there are some routines, like, I guess what I'll refer to as my transitional routines. My routine for transitioning into the day, so like my morning, and my routines for transitioning out of the day, like going to bed. Those I am, and I have not always been this way, I don't think, as much, but like as I've, whatever, just of late, I guess I've recognized that those two times of day, even though the specifics of when they may occur follow a very similar pattern. Like I do not cope well with like having to get up and be doing things right away. Like that will set the stage for just a terrible fucking entire day long. Like I need a little bit of a slow roll into the day, and I need a little bit of a slow roll out of the day as well. Um, so like those sorts of routines, even though they're non-specific in some ways, they are also specific in other ways. Uh, but like, they're also not really a choice. Like, I didn't pick them. Um, Routines that like I've tried to like incorporate in. I mean, I'm good at like fits and starts and stages, but in terms of like maintaining, like even the things that I do regularly, um, like meditating or even eating. Like, those are things that I do regularly, but I definitely don't do them at a set time or in a set way, or following a certain prescription. Yeah. And you're totally right, Boba Fett. About the SI DOMs and keeping to hours, sticking to their diets and whatever regimes they've got up for themselves, like that. I feel like in some ways that and maybe this is just the SI DOMs that have kind of shown up in the what's that called, collective unconscious, but like I do definitely feel like there's a voice that you know flogs me for not being able to have those kind of routines about sticking to their diet, sticking to a diet, or having set hours like bedtime. I struggle with that. Yeah. I'm better at waking up at the same time. Okay, that's not actually true. I'm just forced to wake up at the same time because of work, but it takes many, many alarms and lots of sleeping through them. I have to give myself a wide, a wide berth. Mm, I sometimes do that too. Contradict myself because, like, I'll do it in the middle of a sentence, even where I'll be going down one road and then I'll be like, oh, but then again, there's also blah blah blah. I don't know that it's a inherent part of what I do or something I do super often. Yeah, the FI critic. Yeah, that's us, Boba. So they say, anyhow, um, I think it's a little bit of a douche, and I feel like I feel kind of two ways about it. I feel like, one, it's the bane of my existence, and two, okay, now I gotta start over. I gotta start back over at one. One, I'm not really even sure I fucking understand what the fuck it is. Two, it is the bane of my existence. And three, I also feel like somehow, like, I'm supposed to get it, or at least get it more. Like, that's a growth arc. And I don't know if that doesn't have anything to do with type. I guess I'm speaking more like spiritually, an arc that I feel like I'm supposed to understand at some point. Yeah, everything bleeds into X and Y, because, like, that's the thing, is not everything is just a thing. Like, it's not like we're looking at apples and oranges and an apple and an orange exists outside of each other as its own separate thing that we can observe objectively on its own. Like, the thing is that we can't look at a singular cognitive function ever, because nobody has just one. So we can only ever look at a cognitive function as it's impacted by everything else around us. You know, it's kind of like tarot in that way. Like, I mean, it's totally not like tarot in that way. It's not, but you get my point. Like, it's energetically similar in the sense that, like, you know, you have all of these cards that have all of these, you know, certain meanings, but the way they show up in a spread is going to drastically impact the way that you read them. And I kind of feel like cognitive functions are somewhat similar. Yeah. I'm going to assume that Ruben wasn't calling me sexy. Mm. Adorable. um, Yeah, it's true. We do have to sort of grab onto the obvious, which, you know, getting back to something we were kind of chatting about earlier, is one of the reasons why I think that, like, the whole idea of doing a street typing, it's like, it's one of those things, it's like fun, maybe, or entertainment, but in terms of, like, I mean, no one's being serious with that shit, are they? Like, I mean, that's just fun. It's just a fun way of looking at it and, you know, throwing spaghetti at the wall, I guess, but, yeah. I don't know. I mean, hmm. I think I've done the real test before, but that was also, I feel like, years ago. And maybe, did I? God, I can't remember. It's been a long enough time, and I feel like I kind of, when I sort of re-dipped back into MBTI, it's kind of around the same time that I was getting into Enneagram for the first time, I think. And now I'm not sure which one. I definitely paid for at least one or two tests. I think maybe I paid for the MBTI test and the instinct stack test on Enneagram. I think, but I'm not. I have no fucking idea. I doubt I even used Um, yeah. Do you think then that, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but that the SI types would be the most likely ones who would be into, like, being really good about their like planner. Would that be more likely to be SI Dom or SI Tool, or do you think either? Um, hmm. Ooh, you hit it home. Have you been out in the town, Ruben? I can't remember where you are. Is it late? I don't remember where you are. I mean, it's late enough. Yeah. Ooh, maybe we gotta smoke a bowl. That's a great idea. That is a great idea. I will get started on that while you're driving. You can't do it because you're driving, but you know what? I'm sitting in my own fucking house. I'm not going anywhere. Um, Smoking a bowl. You know, hmm, maybe that's why I like, okay, so with this fucking YouTube shit, like, one of the things, and I even got, okay, how many thoughts can I have at once without interrupting myself? None, apparently. Um, so, one of the things that I know that I struggle with is seeing myself. Like, the fact that I've got a YouTube channel at all, like, oh my god, you guys have no idea how far I've come. But it is still a little bit of a struggle. And, like, I had been completely unable to watch any of my live streams. Um, like, just could, like, thought about it, thought I know that I should. And I did this interesting meditation that I'll talk about more later, but that's not the point I was trying to make right now. What was the point I was trying to make right now? That there, I also recorded a voice memo that I remember recording. I have not gone back and listened to it because seeing myself, hearing myself is all the same fucking thing. And so I don't remember exactly what I said, but I was just getting ready to fall asleep one night and kind of had a little bit of a, like, intuitive hit with regards to, like, purpose and such, and, like, what the fuck I'm doing here, just generally speaking. And yeah, I just kind of started remembering some of the various times where something that I said, uh, not in, like, something that I've said even without having this intention has been a shift for somebody in some way. Like, uh, yeah, just in having, like, regular conversations, that just something about the way I'll say something will give somebody enough of a perspective shift that it will really change things for them in some way. I've had several people sort of comment about those sorts of things, and I think that's part of, like, what sort of drives me to the whole YouTube thing, and, like, having a channel doing the readings, is that, like, even if it's not on purpose, even if it's just, like, by some random divine mistake, that, like, the words that come out of my mouth are the words that somebody needs to hear for some purpose that's going to shift something for them. Like, I think that's, like, kind of it, is the why of it, is, yeah. Yeah, light a candle in the darkness, exactly. Yeah, yeah, and like there's, I mean, it's, everybody's joking, that's awesome. Oh, that's right, you're in Texas, 2 hours behind me. So yeah, it's not, I guess it's not, oh wait, yeah, behind, so it's later there. Ooh, missing your woman? Ooh, were you on a date? Um, but yeah, like you know, and it's funny, like there are also times in my life, where, and nobody's ever come back to me and said this to me after the fact. Like the only time I've gotten feedback about somebody telling me something that I said shifting something for them was all really like super positive stuff. But like internally, I also have like a couple of memories of things that I've said, uh, not like mean things or anything like that, just things that I've said or truths that I've shared that I think probably did maybe shift people, um, in ways that, I mean, I certainly wouldn't have chosen those ways for them. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Um, yeah, Ruben, I want to hear more about this. Were you on a date? Do you have a girlfriend? I don't even remember, but I feel like I remember at some point you were talking about going on a date, on a first date. So yeah, fill us in, give us the goss, cause like I ain't got shit going on that at this point, in that realm, and I don't know if I ever will again. It's just not feeling it right now. So I just live vicariously through all of the other people, and am satisfied by that for the time being, anyways. But I do still enjoy the stories. So you are welcome to share them if you are so inclined, but of course, do not feel obligated. But also, hopefully, you don't have a super long drive, because now that I've made that invitation to you, I'm also aware of what time it is and that I am getting tired, and I will feel bad if your drive is super long and you've been like raring to like tell us all about your stories, and I'm like, okay, I'm tired now, good night. So hopefully that won't happen. For once I can talk about it, I please, have you found yourself talking to someone somewhere and you speak to them to the archetype and hit too close to home? Um, yeah, I mean, ooh, what is going on with this thing? Use my fucking fancy lighter. It's not a giant torch, but I do have a torch lighter. I don't think it's gonna be loud, but so let's see. Okay. Ooh, interested in a wonderful woman. That's very exciting. Um, and I don't know. Is that their name? Um, I think that there have been times when I definitely have hit too close to home. I don't know that that's happened in a long time. I feel like that used to happen more when I was younger, and I mean, I'm having a hard time recalling a specific experience, but the sort of general miasma that I got is that that was probably something that was more likely to come out when I was younger, come out bluntly when I was younger, and probably at my parents', and it probably didn't go very well, even though I was right. Um, and so I don't, like, even when I have that awareness, even when I have that awareness, and am fully tuned into it, I try to be very cautious of not uh, using it as a weapon. Um, do I notice patterns of people around me, those who you tune into? In some ways. Um, I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by patterns. I am not necessarily likely to know the patterns of, like, oh, well, this person goes to the store every day at this time, or they like to do this thing at this time every day. But I think I'm definitely more likely to tune into more the uh, behavioral patterns, or I guess energetic or communicative patterns and things like that. Like, I can be really oblivious to the physical realities of shit. So I guess it depends on what exactly you mean by patterns. Um, in an abstract way, yeah, there's definitely an attentional awareness to the patterns that people are putting out there. But in other ways, like, I don't even know, like, what fucking, like, color car or kind of car, like, my best friends drive, and shit like that. So it's a little all over the place. Um, Patterns in general, yeah, sometimes, but again, it's. I also am relatively checked out a lot of the time to what's happening. Like, I've lived in this house for a super long time. I don't know what my neighbors do. Like, I mean, I have noticed that a couple of them, like, oh, this person walks by pretty frequently. I often see them walking by, which is why I see people, because I'm usually here. So, like, there's some patterns that I'm, again, pretty unaware of. But then other patterns, yeah, I definitely notice. You know, like, um, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. I should have looked at that sooner. Um, how often does a head pure real judgment to you? You blurt it out. I almost never say anything unintentionally. So I don't blurt it out. I I'm I I don't say, I shouldn't say never, because I'm sure that there are times, I don't fucking know, but I rarely am not speaking with intention. I think maybe, I mean, I do often have pictures in my head. I'm not sure what you mean about reveal a judgment. I mean, the pictures in my head will reveal to me my understanding and what I know to be accurate about what I'm perceiving. Um, Sometimes there are secondarily judgments that come up from that. But yeah. Oh my gosh, butterflies are fun. That's exciting, Ruben. I'm happy for you. I'm happy you're experiencing butterflies. Mm. Yeah, I mean, whatever. You know, nothing wrong with getting your hopes up, as long as you know that, and enjoying where you are now is, like, just enjoy where your heart is now. No need to get them up to anything. Awesome. It's true. You're a good person and deserve. It is 100% true. Oh my goodness, I finished this whole beer. I might have a second one. Fuck it, why not? Or at least I have a second one. I've got like fucking 24 of them. So, alright, I'm going to get myself some water and maybe another beer. and run to the restroom, and I will be back. I think that's a pretty fucking astute question is, do I like them, not do they like me? Yeah. I feel like I decided to say yes to that second beer and also forgot to drink the water. But I feel like that would be ooh, why is it so foamy? Aw. The other one foamed a lot too. Is there a certain way you're supposed to open a fucking can? I have no idea. But what was I gonna say? Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I think that asking yourself, do I like them, not do they like me, is something that we should be passing along to our youth. Because I don't remember anybody ever saying something like that to me and encouraging me to be thoughtful in that way when I was a kid, when it probably would have been helpful. That's very exciting. How did you meet? Did you meet on an app? I feel like that's how most people meet these days, because meeting in an IRL, that's not how you fucking say that shit. I'm just old. But meeting in real life is just hard. Oh, cheers to you as well. Oh, did you mean, are you home or are you having a bowl now? Is it a bowl cheers? Well, jingle jingle. It'd probably be best if we didn't like actually clink, because especially if your bowl is glass and this is glass, and like, I don't know, that's just bound to break. Speaking of which, I broke my other bowl a little while ago, like months or so ago, and this one just doesn't seem to, it's like harder to get it, although I guess that was pretty good. It's just so annoying. It just doesn't seem to, yeah. I'm sure somebody can fix it. If they knew how, but that shit ain't me. I'm probably gonna wrap this up fairly soon, because I don't even know what the fuck else to say. I do kind of like the idea of panel discussions. Like, I've been to 10 minutes until what? What is that? Um, oh wait. Wait, what the fuck was I doing? Oh yeah, panel discussions. I've been I've watched a couple of Flow States panel discussions lately and kind of liked them. Um, like there was definitely some really interesting conversation. I don't think I engaged with the chat much. It was mostly just like listening as I was doing other things. But I have enjoyed them. And like, well, I'm not really super interested in like debating people because of my aforementioned deficiencies of like remembering and talking with words to make logical sense. Um, I do like the idea of conversing with people, and like when we used to do the whereabys, I always really enjoyed that, and like just having an actual discussion. Um, but I'm not sure what to do about that, but that is something that I find interesting. Oh, pardon me. Don't mean to be so rude. To be on your face like that. Hmm. Yeah, I think I'm pretty tired, guys. Thank you so much for spending this equinox evening with me. It's really been a joy, as always, to hang out with y'all and spend some time and shoot the shit. And I meant to pull some cards and I didn't do it again. So I guess I will just put that on the list for next time. Pull some fucking cards. Oh, well, you're very welcome, and thank you. Thank you all really very much, so much for being here. And no trolls this time, so that's cool. We'll call that a fucking win. And happiest of equinoxes to you. I hope y'all have the most wonderful kickoff to autumn, or if anybody in the future should be watching this from the southern hemisphere, I hope you're having a wonderful kickoff to spring. And I love y'all, and I will see you soon. As always, don't forget to be kind and gentle with yourselves.